All right, here we go. It worked. Okay, so now I'm back. Phew. Hello, everybody. Let's see, do we have any newbies here? I think I know all of you. Who has something they want to talk about with regards to the color editor? Questions, comments, challenges? Hi, for giving Aussie Land. I appreciate that. Let's see, I have questions up. No questions. Guys, please help me out here. I am somebody has to be curious about something in color editor. Or does anybody have a fun draft that they've worked on? I can let you share your screen and you can tell us about what you did. You've all seen me do eye bleeding colors. I don't think we need to have another night of me doing crazy stuff. Will I be doing draft editor questions in the future? Yes, Bobby. That is definitely on the list. I don't write drafts, so I haven't played with that. I'm a little intimidated by it, but with Tien's assistance, I am going to write instructions on how to use it. Even though I don't know how to write a draft, I can figure out how to use the software. And so we will be getting there, and there'll be a class like there is for color editor on the draft editor as well. So yes, absolutely, that's coming. Should be fun. I don't even know what an amalgamation draft is, for instance, but we'll figure it out. Okay, guys, come on. Who wants to share something or ask something? Because we've got a whole hour and I don't have an hour's worth of song and dance for you. You're all my regulars. Who's new or who hasn't gotten really comfortable with it, or who's having trouble with uploading or downloading? Really? You're silent. Everybody's just quiet. Come on, I got chat open. I've got questions open. Fix shows it's recording. Still don't know all the buttons yet. Well, we can certainly show the buttons. Put a draft up and let's play with it. Yeah, let's see if I can find one. Hold on a minute. Bear with me. The only things I was coming up with were my horrible, scary colors. So let's see. I'm just going to dive in here somewhere. This is a not appropriate. Too many floats. How about this one? Nope. Jeez. All right, how about stripes? What's that? All right, here's one that, let's see, I'll share my screen. And I want to share this one. So hopefully you're seeing a multicolored, all kinds of crazy stuff draft, which I now can't get to. Oh, look, there's chats. So let's see, somebody tell me in the chat if you're seeing that draft before I go too much further. Great, thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Sonia. Okay, so this is just a funny little draft that I always like to play with. It's got long floats and it's probably not the best idea, but here it is. Let's see, I saw something going on here. I want to make sure I don't miss. Can a printout show the numbers on the warp for knowing where you want to change colors and on the weft? Yes, they can. There is a glitch in the system with weft numbers over 3 digits. It can't show more than 3 digits. So we've run into that problem. But yes, it can definitely print the numbers. And what you'd want to do is download. I'll demonstrate. If I can find my mouse, download the drawdown image, which gives you a photo image, a photo file. What you want to make sure is that the image is sized to a size that you can see the numbers and that you can also print. So you'll have to play with how you can print. Sometimes you might have to print on multiple pages. Sometimes you might choose to crop it and just print a repeat. It's up to you to kind of figure that out. Let's see, I'm going to download this one more time, and then I'm going to see if I can show you what it looks like. So I have to stop sharing this screen to show you the other screen. So I'll be right back with that. So let's share this is the PNG, the photo file, the drawdown image that I just downloaded, and it looks like this, I think. This. I have a lot of screens open. So I think you are seeing the one that has the numbers down the right-hand side of the draft. You can see the weft pick numbers. So it's just trial and error to make it big enough. I'm zooming with my mouse that you can see everything you want to see. So I'll stop that share and we'll go back to that. Now, an overshot draft, somebody asked me about in the questions. So we can start with that. How do you copy okay, I see questions. No, I took the draft down. So all right, so here we go. Whew. All right, I'm going to get the draft back up on the screen. Man, I'm easy to confuse. Share. Okay, now you can see the draft, I hope. All right, let's do the downloading WIFs and drawdown. And so things that you can download. You can download with this button your WIF file. And we'll talk about that again in a second. WIF files are special files that you want to treat carefully. You can download the drawdown image, which is a picture of your draft, and it includes the threading, the colors, and the numbers. So you can take it to the loom if it's small enough to be printed. And again, you have to play with the sizes to make it work for you. You can also download the colors image, which is going to give us a row of circles of the palette that we've set up. So if I want to use that palette again, I don't have to go design it from scratch from these white boxes. I can just load those colors and click in them to set them up in a new draft. So we'll download the drawdown image real quick. All of these things, in fact, let's download the draft WIF first. And then I'm going to download the drawdown image. And I don't know if you can see on my screen, but down here at the bottom of my screen are all the files I've just downloaded. So I'm going to right click on this file. No, I'm not. This is the WIF file, and I bet you can't see this dialog box. So I'm going to stop sharing my draft for a second because I want to show you the WIF situation real quick. So I'm going to get my downloads file open, and I'm going to share that screen. There we go. This one, share. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing my download screen, and you can see here are the things that I've just downloaded tonight from handweaving.net. I'm using color editor on handweaving.net just because it's bigger and easier to use to demo than in the Academy. So I have 1, 2, 3 .png files. Those are the drawdown images. And the WIF file is the actual draft. I'm going to take a second here and I'm going to rename this draft. I just right-clicked on the name. I'm on Windows 10 on a laptop, and I'm going to call it Color Editor Help. And then I'm also going to rename the drawdown image of that WIF. So it'll sit right next to that file, and I'll know what that WIF looks like if I want to open up that drawdown image file. So that's Color Editor help.png. So that's my draft and a picture of the drawdown of the same thing. Now, here's the big deal. The WIF files are not openable like you would a Word document. You can't just double click on it and open it up to see what's going on. It's a coded text file that is readable only by Color Editor or by weaving software like Fiberworks, or I can never remember the name of the other one. So if I double click on the WIF file to open it, double click, I get this message that says, whoops. I get a message that says, how do you want to open this file? Look for an app in the store or more apps, and then always use this app to open WIF files. Do not look for an app. Do not select an app. Do not say always use this app, because what you do then is associate whatever app you choose with WIF files, and they won't work when you want to bring them into Color Editor or Fiberworks or other weaving software. So you cannot open it like a regular document. It's not a regular document. You can only upload it into Color Editor. So I hope that's clear. It's possible to disassociate the software that you've associated with WIFs if you've made this mistake already. It's just not simple, and I can't talk everybody through it because I don't know everybody's devices, but it's doable. You haven't ruined the world, but it'll give you a headache for sure. So no double clicking to open a WIF file. Open the ping file, the PNG file, the ping file. And if I just click anywhere outside of that dreaded open box, it goes away. Okay, so that's enough about WIF files. I'll stop that share. And unless you've told your browser otherwise, anything you download typically ends up in the downloads folder. So you just need to look there if you don't know where you're looking, or you don't know where to go. Start with the downloads folder. Okay, let's see, Becky, that was downloading WIFs and drawdowns. I hope that was helpful. When there are many color changes in the WARP, how do we track the order and number of threads? I believe that there is a color order chart system thing in the Weave Along course. I'm going to just pop on over to the Hand Weaving Academy real quick and look and see, where am I? There we go. And again, you can take that that drawdown image to your loom with you if you print it, and use it to thread and see your color order. But I feel like weaving WIF stripes, I feel like there's a color order chart situation somewhere in here. If anybody remembers where that is, please feel free to type in narrow. Wait, there's more. Maybe it's in I don't think it's in Crunching the Numbers. Drafts. Let me see if anybody's remembering where it is. Nope. Let me ask the peanut gallery at home. By peanut gallery, I mean the team. Okay, let's go back to, I think there were more questions here. Diane says, can you copy a draft that you have designed and want to move it to the other end? You mean like a repeat in your draft? Absolutely. Let me clean this up a little bit, and then we'll go there and I'll show you. Hold on one sec. Color order chart, a lot of changes in colors. I've just asked the folks where that is. The blank grid page that's at the end of the project pages. That might be it, Becky. I know there's a forum discussion on it. So that blank grid page is probably in the documents, the project pages. I don't know. Anyway, Dimitra, I'll put that on the list. I'm not sure. Color editor will give you counts. I'm not sure about order. So let's go back to that draft real quick and we'll do a copy paste in the warp. You can do it warp or weft, frankly. Oh, look, here's a good one. Oh, I found a better one. Share that one. Where did that come from? Share. Okay, now are you seeing an undulating twill? I hope. Oh, that's just a picture. I can't play with that, darn it. All right. Let's try that again. Holy moly, what did I just do? Is that it? Share. Okay, shoot. Okay, let's put some colors in this. And again, you guys bear with, I'm gonna get rid of these horrible primary colors. Let's add some other blues just for fun. Greeny blue, maybe brighter. And how about maybe a nice light green, lighter green, and maybe some more blue again. Blue. That's pretty purpley. Okay, that's enough. All right, so I'm just gonna remember I'm not a color person. I'm just here to show you how to use this thing. So my big periwinkle purpley blue button is, or color box is bigger here. So that means that's the active color. So I'm going to come and click and drag in the first 3 threads. And that drops the blue in that section. And then let's go for some light green in the middle. And you can go as few or as many threads as you like. Now I haven't taken my finger off the mouse button, but I've just fallen off the warp threads. That's okay, as long as you're holding down the mouse button, you don't lose that selection. And so I'm going to go to there and we'll put a little blue on this side. And actually, I'm going to undo that. Learn to use the undo tool. Or undo button. It's really great. And I just noticed something. I have my lines turned on, and lines muddy up your draft or the display of your draft here when you're working with colors. They just show the interlacements of the threads. And so you really don't need them when you're designing with color. So now I can see what's happening more with my color. So I want to go back to that blue and I want to just do 3 of these. And then let's change it up just a little bit. So we've got something to copy and paste. We'll do the other green, and now I'll throw some really bright yellow in here just to jar you. And back to that one. And how far did I go? Like to there. One more. So now I didn't go far enough, and I can just click one more time in that black square. And because that's selected, tapping it once, you can put 1 thread like this, or click and dragging, you put multiple threads. So I'm going to undo that last one. All right, so if I'm happy with this design and I want to continue it across the warp, this is the copy and paste to the other end. I copy and paste colors, click that button, and it gives me a new instruction. Click and drag across the threads to copy them. So I'll click in the first thread and drag all the way to the last colored thread. And you can click and drag in either direction, right to left or left to right. And then that gives me this funny little, I always call it a little scrolly bar, a little scrolly worm, this scrolly piece that is the copied threads that I just did. And I'm moving them along my warp line, and you can see that I could drop them anywhere I want. And dropping them is just clicking where you want them. So I'm going to butt it up against this last one. And I'm going to click it into place. If you're on an Apple device or an iPad, you might tap it into place. Now, that little scrolly whirly thing, wormy thing, stays active until I turn copying and pasting off. So I can come over here, and unfortunately, it doesn't really fit that section. So if I click it now, it's going to interrupt what I did before. But let's just drop it in there so I've got the whole draft colored and see what happens. Whoops, click. All right. That thing is still there. You can still see that wormy thing, I hope. Let's say I wanted to use the same color order in my warp, in my weft as in my warp. I always say turn the corner, but you don't even have to do that. I can come through the middle and I can come over here to the warp threads or the weft threads. And my scrolly bar is there again. So I can click that into place wherever I want it. I can put it down here. And that really obscures the pattern greatly, but it's interesting to see. So I'm going to say undo that. So that little guy is active until you turn it off. So I'm going to undo that again because I don't like that. But you can see that you can use the same section that you've copied in warp or weft, which is kind of fun. And I've just heard from Tien, the color order chart is in, it is in the Weave Along. Did I just ruin my screen? Are you seeing something else now? Can you see the color order chart situation here? That is in week. Creating a color. Oh, look, it's in week 3, creating a color order chart. I looked right by it. So there it is. I will copy and paste that link into the chat. If I can find the chat. Oh, I just love full screens. I am going to stop sharing for a second because I can't get to the chat. Okay, chat is where I'm going to paste the link. All right, and let's see. All discussion page. Uh-oh. Oh, dang, guys. I'm sorry. I couldn't see that. Discussions. Yeah, I did switch over to discussions. My bad. Actually, that wasn't discussions. That was the course that I just linked you to on the color order chart. Bobby, I'm not sure what you're saying there. All right, so I'm going to get, let's see, what other questions are there? Done. Color order chart, yes. Copy the design, yes. The order chart, yes. Thanks, Joy. Who else has a question? Ignore me, Tian just answered it. Okay. I can put that draft back up and we can talk about all the buttons real quick. Now, can you change your draft to test the colors? What do you mean change my draft to test the colors? I'll share it again, but say more about what you mean changing it. We can, oh, I know what I'll do. Let's see. I have to go here and go back. There we go. Can you see my draft again? I think I have the chat open so I can see your answers. So changing colors, if I wanted to test colors, well, actually, there's a couple things to do. In terms of testing colors, I'm looking at this at a real giant scale. So it's what it would look like if I was on top of the cloth. But if I were wearing it around my neck or in a garment or it was a napkin, you would see it from further away. So you can scale it down to see what it might look like from 10 feet across the room. And actually, you can see some nice little sort of wavy colors when you're far out that you don't see when you're up tight against it. Diane, I am not qualified to change my draft in the draft editor yet. This is not a draft editor class. And I'm not there yet, so I'd rather not jump in and say something wrong, but we will, as I said at the beginning, we will be getting to draft editor, but not yet for sure. There's a learning curve I have to get through on that and then write the instructions and do the videos. So that'll be a little while yet. Maybe we're thinking, I think June or July. So next time, maybe in a couple months, I'll be able to show you that. So sorry about that. But I can show you some button things. Replace colors is useful. I don't like any of my colors here. What I'm going to put I need something like that. There we go. Replacing colors is great because you can replace every thread of a single color with another color. So let's say I don't like that pale green and I want all that to be pink. Whoops. I can click on replace colors. I make sure that my pink color square is selected, and then I can click in any light green color box to change all of those threads to pink. Voila. And that works both warp and weft. You have to do them one at a time, but you can do it in both warp and weft. So let's say I wanted to make that yellow into that royal blue. Again, I can click in any yellow square in the entire project and turn those warp or those weft threads to blue. Boink. I love that. Let's see, Diane, make sure if there are any specific buttons you would like to hear about, I'm happy to do that. Let's see, what else can we play with? One thing you want to make sure of is that when you toggle a tool or a button on or off or on, that you toggle it off, because at this moment I'm still in replacing colors. So if I'm not paying attention and I go la-di-da and I want to put a pop of red over here, whoops, I've changed all of my green to red. So luckily we have this fabulous undo button. You can also use Control-Z if you like to use the keyboard, and I can get rid of that red. And I will click Done Replacing Colors to turn that off. So that's one thing we did copy and paste. Thanks, Dimitra. Good. Color counts, we talked about that briefly, but that just shows you how many threads of each color in your project you'd need. If I had different colors in my weft, I would see that as well. It's useful when you're winding your warp. Undo, we've talked about. Tools, can't help you with that yet, but I will someday. Colors from image, I think, is a really fun and powerful tool. You can take a photograph of your yarn cones, try and do it in the best light that you can. Natural light is best, even light. You can use a photograph. You can use a downloaded color card from a manufacturer's site. I'm just trying to find something fun. I don't think I have anything in pictures. Those are all the card wraps from years ago. Remember back when there was COVID? Here's some yarn cones. Double click. So I'm doing colors from image. I was just scrolling through my downloads folder to find an image. Let's do this first, Diane. I'll come back to you. So I'm going to get some more yarn boxes here. I think I have that blue handled over here already, but I'm going to click in the first available or empty yarn box. That's not necessarily empty. That could also be white. And I'm going to come down here to this mauve yarn, and you see how it's all pixelated and there's a million different colors of mauve in that little window. That's not because this is variegated yarn. It's just because that's the way the light is hitting the yarn in this picture. So I don't think I'd want to pick a dark pixel because that's not representative. So I'm going to try and pick, and scrolling around takes some practice. How about that one? I think that looks pretty close to what we've got here. So then I'm going to click in the next box, and I'm going to come over to this lighter blue. And I think it's got to be a little lighter yet. Boink. I think that's pretty good. And with practice, you'll get this down. So that's one way to get colors. And you saw that I was selecting colors manually by clicking on the pencil icon. And I can click. This is a flattened out color. All of that stuff, you can use those numbers to type it in. I don't run across that hex number very often, but I know that Lunatic Fringe has those, so you can use it for them. How did I get the picture on my screen, Diane? I chose colors from image, and that took me to a place where I could browse for files in my downloads folder. So I'll do that one more time in a second. So now, anyway, I've gotten these colors in. That cyan is not it, but I've gotten these colors in from the image. So now I can hide the image. Before you try to do anything else with your draft, you have to hide the image. If you try and click, oh, look, it worked. That's not right. Anyway, I lied. Show image. Huh. So they've changed that. So I can now do other things. It used to be you had to close the or hide the image before you could do anything like gradients. But if you click a button, it apparently closes it for you. So Diane, real quick, I'm going to show you colors from image. And I'm in my downloads folder on my computer. And I'm going to grab a picture here just for fun. And now I've got a photograph in my image box here that I can use to pick colors from, just the same way we did with the yarn cones. So I would click in an available box, come on down here and pick a corresponding pixel, and voila. So this could be a piece of art, this could be a photograph, this could be anything you want to play with. And now, as you've seen, I've got two images supporting the colors in this palette. When I hide this image has replaced the last image. So if I want to bring up an image again, it's the one that I most recently brought in or opened, but I've got two images working in this palette. Kind of fun. Let's see, upload your work. You download your work technically, Diane, if you're talking about saving it. And that is downloading your WIF file and downloading your drawdown image and downloading your color palette. So that's how you save it. When you want to use it again, if you wanted to go back to that WIF that you were working on and work on it again, you would click upload WIF, and then you would browse in your downloads folder or wherever you have it specified to find your WIF. And let's do this undulating tool just because I have it right here. And so I'm going to bring up a different one. So this is a WIF file. It looks like a blank piece of paper, and that's what it's supposed to look like. So I'm going to double click, or I'm going to click on that and say open. And that's going to bring up a whole nother draft. And Joy, I'm glad you renamed quickly and always, and you do have a bunch of WIFs unnumbered or just numbers, and that's what I have. So that's why I'm digging around trying to find something. If you're lazy like me, you'll spend time doing that. If you're smart like Joy, you'll rename your downloads. I hope that's answered questions. Somebody had an overshot question, so I'm going to quickly try and find an overshot draft. Let's go here. So this is a nice feature of Color Editor. I've been playing with this draft, and it says, I went to click somewhere else, and it said, do you want to download before continuing? So it gives me an option right now to download my WIF, my drawdown image, my colors image. And I'm not going to do that. I don't need to do that, but because I have it in 14 places. So I want to go look for a draft. So I don't want to download. I'm going to say continue. By the way, I believe I have just wiped out the WIF that we were working on. I have part of it saved, but not all of it. So I'm going to search for drafts by keyword, and I'm going to find an overshot draft. And okay, I can pick any of them. Let's see. I want to pick something that you can see. Let's go with that one just for fun. Okay, everybody's seeing an overshot draft, I hope. And this is a big one. I don't want this. Oh, it ends right there. It's not that big. So we'll go to tools since I'm on handweaving.net, and we'll go to color editor. And I'm going to turn my lines off. Look at that. We don't have an overshot button, so it must not be a real overshot draft. So let's pick another one. That didn't work either. How about this one? This draft is too large to use as, oh, here we go. Okay, I'm going to scale this down. Maybe. There it goes. This is a giant draft. So I've just scaled it down a little bit. I'm turning lines off. Let's see what it's doing. I think my computer is thinking. Okay, good. Now I'm sized all the way down. Let me size it up just a smidge more. It took a second to catch up with me. So the size slider, you can, oh, that's too big. You can click in the bar, or you can drag the little ball to change your scale. I want to see the weft thread. So, all right. And I don't have an overshot button here. Let me turn my done copying and pasting. I still don't have an overshot button. So I know that there was a problem with overshot. Maybe that's really weird. Maybe the overshot button is not available at the moment, which I'm unaware of, but that doesn't mean anything. But what the overshot button does, or is supposed to do, is turn on and off the display of the tabby picks. So overshot is a sequence of pattern pick, then tabby pick, then pattern pick, then opposite tabby pick, then pattern pick and tabby pick. And when you're looking at the draft with all the tabby picks in it, you don't actually see what the cloth is going to look like, because that tabby pick sits sort of below the pattern picks, which are usually done with a thicker yarn. So when you click the overshot button, it removes all the tabby picks so you can get a better representation of what your fabric's going to look like. And I'll have to investigate what's going on with that button. Maybe I'm not, I said overshot, but maybe I'm not getting an overshot draft. Is it a profile draft? I don't have a clue. That's beyond my beyond my scope. I mean, I think I know a little bit about profile drafts, but you know, when I say overshot, I hope that I get an overshot, for goodness sakes. They look like overshot. I wonder if I can find an old one from back in the days of COVID when we were weaving together. Nope, I have a feeling the overshot button has gone away for the moment. It was being fixed and then something must have happened. All right, what else, everybody? Anyone else? Thanks, Joy. It is random. It's so random, but I like playing with this. It's sort of my wheelhouse. I like everything about it. Should we do a gradient real quick? Just for fun, not in this draft, that's for sure. I have drafts already set up. Darn it, pattern. No. Oh, look at that horrible thing. Man, I like to save colored things. Let's this looks like plain weave. Let's replace colors and make the warp white. You know, it'd probably be faster if I just click and drag across the warp threads rather than use replace colors. And indeed it was. Okay, so now we've got a plain weave draft. I'm going to make it a little smaller. Last time we were together, we did a gradient on a very small number of threads, and it was hard to show what the gradient looked like. So let's instead do it with the whole warp, and I want another color here. What do I want? I want let's use orange and yellow. Forget it. We'll use what we've got. Okay, so Dimitri says rename your drafts too. And you just saw me. You saw the result of not naming your draft. So there was she wasn't awful. There was a cooking show with a Southern woman from Social Circle, Georgia. I can't think of her name, but she always said, do what I say, not what I do, as she was spilling things all out of the food processor. So I'm her tonight. So let's put a gradient in this puppy. So gradients, you click the gradients button to get it started. And we are going to select all warp and put the gradient across the entire warp. And in gradients, remember, you are not actually putting colors in the threads. The gradient tool is going to do it all for you. And how about we start with selecting colors? So it says select your first color. So I'll click on that purple. And then the directions change to select second color, and I think I'm going to go with this red. And that'll be kind of dramatic, I hope. I'm going to bring my size up so I can, oop, that's too far. So I can see my draft better. We don't want to show lines. We don't want to show opposite side yet. So now you get the magic happens. You get to pick the type of gradient you'd like. And I'm going to go linear to start with. And here the tool has built the gradient for me in the draft without me touching any threads, which is pretty darn cool. And I can increase the scale, which increases the number of lines or number of divisions, and all the way up until it gets really tight. Or you can bring it all the way to the bottom of the scale and it basically flattens it out completely and you don't have a gradient anymore. So let's take that up a little bit, and I think I like it up there kind of. Now threading unit changes the number of threads. We'll start with the smallest unit, which is a single thread. It'll change each stripe in proportion to the next one. So if I bring my threading unit up, now I've got, let's take that scale up a little bit so you can see it. Now I've got a 2-thread threading unit, and that's adjusted the threads in between proportionally. And that works as I go up. So now I've got a 3-thread threading unit, and let's take this down, and you see that's made thicker stripes. And I kind of like that a lot. What do you think? I can change my colors right here again. So if I wanted it to be yellow and orange, I can do that, and that hurts my eyes. How about yellow and red? That's kind of fun. You can also, let's go back to the original because I think that's pretty. Let's look at the other gradients. Curved. And I just forgot the way. I think the darker colors are supposed to go on the outside. So let's switch this around to get the best image of a curve. Whoops. So I'm going to make my first color the purple and my second color the red. And that didn't change. All right, since that didn't change for me, I'm going to reverse the colors with a reverse button. There we go. So the darker colors on the outside give you more of an illusion of the curve happening from the middle section is the top of the cylinder, in other words, and it's a half a cylinder curve. I can make that more dramatic by upping the threading unit a little bit, and that gives that sort of change. Or the scale gives me larger spaces. So I'm going to bring that back down there. That's not quite what I want. Maybe like that. And this is just a matter of playing with it. By the time you get your threading unit up so big, you've flattened out the curve. So you don't want those outside lines. It's changing the unit on the smallest threads, smallest stripes first. So you need those lines to be kind of thin to show the curve. Okay, that's a curve gradient. Fibonacci 1 is 2 Fibonacci sequences, one going left to right, one going right to left. And you can change the scale of that. If you bring your scale up, you get smaller stripes. Smaller stripes. Kind of fun. What happens if I go all the way to the end? That's kind of interesting. This uses Fibonacci numbers to create the number of threads or the number of ends in each stripe. And this one is 2 Fibonacci sequences basically side by side instead of interleaved. So that one's kind of fun too. And your scale is going to do that kind of thing and change to chunkier and chunkier until you really don't have much going on. Opposite side's always fun, but these are plain weave drafts, so the opposite side is going to look the same. Reverse switches the order of colors in your gradient, which is kind of cool. And then the last gradient is sort of a fabulous building block gradient, I like to think of it. So we're going to create a set of alternating stripes, and I have complete and total control over how many ends in each stripe. So I want 8 and 5, and that gives me an alternating sequence. It cuts off if I don't have enough. I didn't do any math to figure that out, but it gives me alternating stripes that I can then, when I'm done, and in any case, when you're done with any gradient, you click Save Colors, and that's going to throw that gradient into your draft in the main color editor window. And then I can do all kinds of things with these alternating stripes, like use them just as a guide to put other colors in. So I can change that stripe to yellow, or I could do some shading on this stripe with the orange. So what you build in the gradient editor doesn't have to stay the same as the gradient editor made it. You can come back to the color editor and play with it some more. All right, I think we've probably run up at time, have we? 3 minutes. Burning questions, anyone? Anyone? Let's see, I need to copy some questions here. Oh, good. Threading unit. I'm glad that helped, Diamitra. And the reverse button is totally fun. It's all fun. I like it all. All right, stop, share, so I can see what's happening. Q&A. There's a whole bunch. Thanks, Joy. Thanks, Diane. It was fun to be here. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Anyone else have any other questions? I think you've got 2 minutes. Be back again next month, so save them up. And there is a form in the color editor event if you want to ask questions in advance. But I'm happy to be here and take them on the fly. And review and review and review. We'll keep at it. It is Ida Lee, like playing with the new box of crayons. It's always fun to explore and dig around. And, you know, if I took the time to think about things in advance, I might come up with a better color palette and make you not eye-bleeding designs, but I'm not usually that organized. So thanks for putting up with my on-the-fly designs. All right, so without further ado, I don't have a cat to show you, darn it. But I hope you have a great night. And let's see, it's the beginning of May. We're going to see a lot of each other for the next couple of weeks because that's when we do our stuff. So I hope you've woven your weave along scarves, and I will see you very soon. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming. How did we end up? All right, end.